You have a special intro for this one?
I think so. Lixian, play the normal music that you ordinarily play at the beginning of these. It's really special and custom made just for this. Thank you. Welcome to PowerWash Pals, also known as the PowerWash Power Hour, also known as PowerWash. That was another one. The PowerWash Podcast. I do not have a third podcast.
You just said that this is a podcast.
No, I said it was also known as. That's an alias. It's not actually what it is.
Okay. Fair
So
enough.
I took the liberty of picking the map for you. I thought the playground was fitting. It has the brightest colors, and it's the most reminiscent of our youth. And youth is slowly slipping away from you, day by day, moment by moment. So I thought it might be nice.
The time never stops. The clock is always ticking. Isn't it?
You said that in such a perfect rendition of the voice you said it in before. I suddenly got flashbacks. So this is the channel name comes later because that's the AKA. This is Ethan Nestor, also known as a one CrankGameplays. Lixian, please play Ethan's intro. There it is.
Wow. Good job, Lixian.
You've been doing YouTube for just about 10 years now.
Yep.
Very long time. We've known each other for about 7?
Yeah, 7 years.
7 years, which is a considerable amount of time.
That's
to know
weird
anything.
to think about.
I know, right? Isn't it weird?
Odd.
Yeah. And 1/3 of the no longer with us project Unus Annus. Some people would think
true.
1/2, but it was there was a third party that was incredibly essential to the success of that project.
Evan.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Very excited to be on here tonight.
Yeah. Are you?
It's great and grand. I watched the episode with you and Sean. It was real nice.
Cool.
Well, I didn't. I listened to it. I was like, oh, this will be a nice thing to put on in the back. It is really nice. Just like, I don't know, because I feel like we're always sort of on whenever we record videos, and so it was nice to just like hear you guys just talk. And
I know, right?
Just chill.
Yeah,
nice.
not these fake reactions that we always do, and every YouTuber does. Everything being fake.
When this is Ethan and Mark, not CrankGameplays and Markiplier.
No way, and definitely not Unus and Annus. They're dead.
They're dead and gone,
and not
forever.
Coming back. And at the end of space, it was not Annus. It was Darkiplier, but whatever.
Who's to say who it was?
I'm to say, I wrote the show. I did the thing.
I guess maybe.
God, this is what I get for like just trying to be like, ooh, I'll just put a step into it, because not many people know that you filmed that particular thing. At any point in the filming process of that moment, where you like, hey, people might think this might be Unus Annus or something like this. Do you think that at all?
No, I thought Darkiplier the whole time.
Because I was
what was
wearing
the
the
line?
full suit.
Such a fickle bitch.
No, keep going. Keep trying.
You looked at the stone and you went, oh, going the distance for a little rock.
Oh, I can smell your bones.
Oh, you silly cow.
You silly cow. I still want to like download that video and redo the voice and re-upload it just without permission.
Yeah, that'll go over well.
Well, they didn't ask me permission to make a cartoon about me. I think it'd be fine. They'd be honored. They'd be honored, right?
Honored.
Yes,
Unus honored.
So going back to the Unus Annus, since we're talking about it, we'll go ahead and like cover that topic. A lot of people thought after Unus Annus ended, and for those of you who don't know what Unus Annus was, don't try to look it up. It doesn't exist. Nope. All those videos you see on YouTube, they're not real.
They're not real. They're all deep fakes.
They're all deep
created
fakes
by the AI.
Yes, the AI. And it's a project that Ethan and I and Amy and Evan also helped, and all the editors helped with. Lixie and Marcus, Rachel, Vincent. They were helping us make this project that was about the temporary nature of the world and life and its finite limits. So what did you think? If you had to summarize Unus Annus in one sentence, let's make it 10 words or less. What would you say?
Ooh, 10 words or less. I guess I would just say,
I didn't mean to give you a brain tickler this early into the show.
Oh, man. I don't know. I mean, I feel like you just summarized it pretty well. It was just a project to symbolize the temporary nature of life and also the internet. Because I think a lot of people just have that thought of like, oh, my favorite YouTuber is going to be making videos forever. And I'll always be able to watch these videos. And it's like, YouTube could disappear at any moment.
It could. It literally could. And probably in the future it might, because as far as I don't know who's keeping the records of that, but it might just be Google. And if YouTube goes down all of a sudden, that's probably because Google went down all of a sudden, and all that will be disappeared into the ether.
Into the
forever. Ether. Just like Unus Annus in all the videos.
What I just said was not 10 words or less, but, it's fine.
It's okay. I didn't expect you to count. It's all good, man. Nah, it's we're coming up on the 2-year and not an anniversary. What do they call it?
A death-iversary.
Death-iversary.
Celebration of life.
Yeah. Something like that.
Death. What do they call that?
There's another word. It's like not in memoriam. It's not a memorialization. I don't know. Someone in the comments, you know what it is.
Lixian, look up the word. Put it on the screen.
You know how English isn't your first language, Lixian. You know this word. Look it up.
You know this one.
You know what we're talking about.
Look at you and your funny little animation that you bob in your head and then you leave.
Don't make fun. Hey, actually interact with him, like poke him. Poke him. You can poke him. Yeah, feels powerful, right?
No, but it is weird thinking about that. It's already been 2 years.
Yeah.
I think about this all the time. I honestly, thinking back, I don't know how we did it.
That's what everyone asks us. How'd you do that? And I'm kind of like starting to realize, like, how did we do that?
How did we do that? Like, how did we, one, just make those videos every day, but two, how did we not just completely go insane?
Kind of did.
It's true.
A little bit. But I think it's, to your credit, it really is like the power of your ability to make anything a bit. I would say I have that ability, but I don't think my ability is nearly as much as yours. You, for some reason, your chaotic energy just really carried it. And I think I spent most of those videos just desperately trying to get you back on quote unquote track. But in all honesty, your bits were better tracks than whatever the setup actually was. So it was like this fun push pull dynamic that kept the videos like always engaging. It's just like for some reason your brain is chaos and my brain is also chaos, but like desperately trying to adhere to order. So I think that's what kept the energy going for 367 videos.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I wouldn't say it's really an ability to keep a bit going. I think it's the inability to focus on the task at hand.
An inability to hold on to reality. Like, that's the struggle.
Exactly. That's what it is.
Like, all credit to you, man. Like, there were some days I was just fucking beat and I was not into anything, and it was just like as soon as the camera turns on, you're just no offense.
It is kind of like I get possessed by some other being. No, I think that's the thing that was so great about Unus Annus, and something that I really miss is like the collaborative side of things, because obviously like both of us were never like on point every day doing that, and so it was really cool having that push and pull, and having some people pull a little harder on some days, and I don't know, just being able to work together on stuff like that was so much fun. I miss that kind of stuff a lot.
I do too. I don't miss the daily grind of it, but I do miss the it really gave a sense of purpose. I was talking to John about this actually, because he just he retired from the military, and one of the things that he's mentioned comes in the veterans packet and the informational and like the counseling that they provide is like, be prepared to lose your sense of purpose, transitioning to civilian life. And he at first was like, what is that about? I'll have purpose. I'll do my fabrication, my costumes, my art. I'll focus on me. I'll try to keep a roof over my head. I'll have purpose. But really, when you have that unified goal and it's go, 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 whether that's good or bad, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but in the military, it's like, just like you have to do these things. You have to follow orders. You have to follow a regiment. Those kind of constraints can give you purpose, especially if it's towards a unified goal with other people. And then suddenly removing that can be jarring. And for me, with coming out of Unus Annus, what I really realized is, we talked about this at the end of the Unus Annus. It was hard for me to let go of the idea of the Mark show, Like you mentioned this to me, and it was just that was hard. But what I realized is it was great. Once I was able to kind of yield to other people's creative ideas and really accept what they were taking in instead of trying to control the situation all the time or control the bit or have to be in charge. It helped me a lot. And right now I'm working with Corridor Digital. I'm their intern, where I'm literally just I was just doing whatever they tell me to do. And it's great. I have my ideas of my own that I inject all the time, and of course they ask me for advice. They do respect the things that I know, but it's great because it's a collaborative environment, and I get to work with other people again. I do miss that about Unus Annus.
Yeah, I miss that a lot. I think I learned so much, not only about myself, but just about I don't know how to survive on the internet without losing yourself, because I think so many of those videos are inherently stupid that we made. But I've never had more fun making videos than when we did Unus Annus, and I think that really captured the essence of this might sound a little arrogant, but what it should mean to be a creator, because we were making really stupid, weird ideas, but it was so much fun. Yeah. And the videos were good, not necessarily because the ideas behind them were crazy, over the top, spectacular things, but because we had a good time making them, and we were just having fun and being goofy and stuff. And that's the kind of stuff that I think in some parts of YouTube are lacking nowadays, where it feels like everything has to be this big, huge spectacle, and it feels like the heart isn't in it as much, It's just making a thing with huge stakes, and I don't know. It seems like there's not as much heart in it, and I feel like with every video that we did for Unus Annus, that was at the core was just having fun and being stupid and getting a fun video out of it. Yeah,
I think you're right. I do think that there is that. Not everywhere. It's not across the entire platform. There's definitely people that do put in an incredible amount of creative juice into each video without worrying about it being crazy. And there is a place for higher production, but you are right. I do think that a lot of other creators might feel more free if they remember that this job is supposed to be fun and it's supposed to entertain people. And yes, big concept videos can do that, and there is a place for that. But at the same time, it's just about turning on a camera and being yourself, really. That's what it is. Yeah. But however, I do have to say, we did have a big overarching huge thing that we were trying to rock the internet about, and we did. So there was that. I do have to point that out.
There was that.
Yeah.
There was that.
I still blow people's mind when I tell them how many people were at the final live stream.
Yeah,
they just can't.
It's
fathom.
crazy.
Yeah,
that was something that I didn't really realize until Unus Annus was over, because I felt like I was so caught up in the day-to-day of making sure that videos were going out and filming and everything, and I feel like I'm not used to that kind of impact, because, and I don't know, maybe you did feel this way, but you have been one of the most predominant figures on YouTube for a while. And I feel like with Unus Annus, that was one of the first times that it was like, oh, like everyone is talking about this. And it was a very weird thing that didn't hit me until after, where I was like, oh, this like really had a big impact. And like, you know, while it's not about how many people watched the videos or how many people were subscribed, it was like, oh, wow, like the internet knew about this. And that's like kind of weird.
Yeah. It's bizarre. For those of you who don't know, at the moment of deletion, I believe we had 1.6 million concurrent live viewers, not views on the video. Literally 1.6 million people live watching us to see if we'd actually delete it. And so that is a number you or I will never reach that in terms of live viewers ever again. Not even close, I don't think. Unless one of us dies live on stream.
Live on stream.
It would never be achieved. And even then I don't think it would be. And I'd be sad if there was an afterlife and I was looking down, I'm like, oh, come on, guys, just not even over 500,000, really? But no, that had meaning, and it was like part of the whole message was just like adhering to the meaning that we agreed upon in the beginning. Even setting out of it is just like, yeah, we're gonna delete it, and no one could really believe that we would, because but that was good, because it was to other content creators. It's like, yes, you can let go of something, you can do something that's just for the fun of it or the meaning of it, and then it's done, and that's fine. In fact, sometimes it's better. I actually talked about this on Logan Paul's podcast, of all things.
Oh,
actually,
really?
not of all things, because after Unus Annus was deleted, he actually made a point to say like that Unus Annus was an incredibly smart idea, and I was very grateful that he said that.
Yeah, I saw that. It's weird because Unus Annus, I think, is the thing that's given me the most closure in my entire life. Like, it was so satisfying having a goal and having a clear end date, and being like, okay, we're going to do this thing, and then it's going to be done, like, forever. And the finality of having to delete everything and it be completely over was bittersweet, obviously, but it was so gratifying, and it meant so much that, like, we finally did it. And I think about this a lot, where the ending of Unus Annus, like, literally the ending live stream, people will never be able to experience what we felt with that, but also we'll never be able to experience the heartache side that fans did, in the sense that for us, it was 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the stream is over, we delete the channel, and then we celebrated, and we were like, we fucking did it. For everyone else in the entire world, for the rest of the 1.6 million people, it was 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, darkness. Yeah. And that was it.
Wow. Yeah. You're totally right.
That's something that I think about a lot, where it's like, wow, like, that must be really weird for people that went through that and then it was truly done. Because at least we got to, like, live in it for a little bit and celebrate and be like, we're done, blah, 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 and we all hung out after. But for everybody else, it was just darkness, and it was done.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't really like think about that until you just said that. That's absolutely true for them. It was like an experience we custom made them to feel. But yeah, I guess I never really thought about the ramifications. But I would ask, like, that feeling of isolation for us, I think maybe hit a bit, not as intense right away, but maybe it, like, this lingering ache came in. I want to ask you, like, how was it afterwards? Like, when you were back just to doing your videos, being Crank Gameplays, like that transition, what was it like for you?
I think, going back to what you were saying before about what John said, I think I did have this sort of lack of purpose in a way. Like, I felt like what I was doing on my own channel wasn't profound enough. And I remember for probably a month or two after, I would have like stress dreams about Unus Annus, or like wake up and be like, is the video up? Does it have the correct timer on it? But yeah, I definitely felt that, like, oh, that was really impactful. Maybe I'll never do something like that again. And I mean, like, I've come to terms with the fact that I won't, but it was definitely that, like, oh, this is weird. Like, that is done now. and I have to move on. Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting, and it was very bittersweet, but it was sad. And I think on my end, the saddest part about it, even though it was nice for a bit to like get space from you and Amy, but it was sad where it was just like, oh man, like we spent basically every day together for a year, like trying to come up with stuff, and then it was just like, all right, that's done.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You know, and it sucks because we'll never make anything ever together again because we're not friends anymore.
Of course, yeah. No, I this is actually the first time we've had a conversation since that. And it took a lot to get on the Discord. I wanted to cancel so badly.
It did. It really
actually, I think my ride's here, I gotta go.
Oh, okay. Fair.
But no, yeah, I think it is that for me too. It was the lingering, like, yeah, it's done. All right, woo,
it's done.
Yeah. But then I would say, like, I don't think you should say you will never do anything as profound ever again, because I think you'll surprise yourself with what you're able to make. I know that afterwards, like, I got busy with space immediately afterwards, but you started working on this secret project, and I remember this because you would not tell a soul what it actually was. You made it a point so that no one could know, no one should know, and no one would know what you were working on, but that you were working on something.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, let me see, how far... I guess that was in February that I started, so the February after Unus Annus. Yeah, so I was working on the live show that I toured, and that's something that I talked about in therapy a lot. Was why I didn't want to tell anybody about it. I think a big reason was being a person that is constantly like making stuff for the internet, and the internet immediately sees everything. I didn't want to, and there's always that pressure of like, oh, I need to get a video out, and nothing can ever like be perfect or whatever. But I didn't want to tell anybody about it because I wanted it to be done before anybody saw it. Like I wanted it to be ready, and I didn't want. There were so many times where I thought about like trying to hype it up, but I didn't want anybody to know about anything about it until it was ready, because for the first time in a really long time, I had control over that, you know? And it was just like, okay, like I don't have to share any of this. Like I can wait until it's at a point where I feel comfortable and then surprise people with it. But yeah, I was extremely protective over the show. Like even Mika, my girlfriend, for those of you who don't know, she didn't see anything about the show at all. Like she knew that I was gonna do a show. I told her that much, but she didn't see anything at all until 2 days before the first show. So she came to the last rehearsal that I did, before doing the first tester show, and that was the first time that she saw anything.
That's wild.
Yeah, and so like she would come into my office, and I would like minimize everything on my computer, and I would be like frantic, and I'd be like, "What do you want?" And she'd be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm just working on the show." And like I can't thank her enough for being cool with that, because I didn't want her to think that like she wasn't special enough to see it, or that I didn't trust her enough. But it really was on all fronts. Like I just didn't want to show it to anybody. I didn't want to tell anybody about it until I was ready to. And so I was super, super grateful that she was cool with that, and that she didn't feel like offended by that or anything.
You never went, oh, it's porn! Oh, it's porn!
Porn! So much porn!
Did you ever use the show as an excuse when you were looking at porn?
Yeah,
it's a show, working very really hard.
Oh,
I got a piece of paper under my desk. Good. I'm writing by hand to find it. It helps me think.
Can't wait till you can see the show. It's great. Oh man. Yeah, but that was I think the show was something that I've made myself that I'm the most proud of out of anything I've ever made, because I truly obviously I had a lot of help from the team at Real Good Touring and everything like that, but it was like something that I made, and it was my vision, and I don't know, it was like my little baby. And obviously, like anything else, there's parts of it that I wish I did a little bit more on, or there's ideas now that I look back at where I'm like, I could have done that better, but like it was something. And even now still, like, I still really love the show that I made, and every night going to do it, like I had a lot of fun, and it was something that I had wanted to do for such a long time, and I'm really proud that like I finally did it. I
saw the show. It was very good. Like,
Thank
no joking about anything. It was incredibly good. It was one of the best, if not the best, YouTuber show I've ever seen, I think.
Thank you.
I do think it was far more entertaining than the You're Welcome tour. And I say that, like, being the guy, like, who was a part of the You're Welcome tour and was there. I think your show was... it was unique. It had a lot of better flow. It was like the jokes really landed. The bits were really well thought together. I won't spoil any of it. I don't know if you're ever going to do it again, but it was really well thought out, and it was so clearly yours. And I think that's another thing. Like, I totally understand the idea of being very protective of your ideas and not letting anyone in. I've operated for so long just like being the only one coming up with my ideas, and so it's like my default not to really tell anyone about it, just because like I'm just thinking about it in my head. But I get that from coming from Unus Annus and like having to share and collaborate, and everyone's ideas, and some ideas are like voted down versus up, where it's just like purely on your shoulders. But that can be stressful too. Like it runs the risk of you falling into what you were saying before about content creation, where, you know, it should just be about having fun, but then there is that pressure of like, okay, I have a standard that has been set. I guess I have to exceed it, for not for everyone else's benefit, but for my own validity in terms of like self-worth. Like, do you ever think about that?
Yeah, I mean, that was sort of like the whole thing about the show was like, because I had wanted to do that for such a long time, and that's why the show was called I Have to Do the Show, is like amongst viewers a lot of the times it was just like, oh, like his manager is making him, or like it's a joke, or blah, 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 blah. But it truly was like, I named the show that to force myself to do it, because I wanted to prove to myself that I could do better than I had ever done, and that I could make something that I could like truly be proud of long term, you know, because there are like videos that I've been proud of and stuff, but like something that I worked really hard on for a really long time and be truly proud of, and something that was challenging, and like that was the hardest part about it, was following through with something that was so new to me that I had never done before, and like having to follow through with it, because obviously there was a ton of times where I was like, I don't think that this is good, but having to like conquer that fear and be like, nope, like it might not be good, but I need to follow through with it. I don't know. The show was very personal, and like a really big deal for me. And I think it was a really big stepping stone. And I think it was also big for me, and I hope that you don't take this the wrong way, that I could make something impactful and have it also be successful without you being attached to it.
No, I get that. That's perfectly valid.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah. No offense taken. If anything, that sounds like I'm a beacon of success, so I take it as a compliment.
You are.
No. I think you got it, really, in terms of like the success metric. It was incredibly successful. It's hard to get people to turn up in public, you know, especially nowadays. But it's one of those things that really goes to show how much people matter. Or how much people matter to I'll let you fix this.
How much you matter to people?
Yes, that one. Thank you very much. Luxian, you guys all good. Taken care of. But I was talking about this with the Corridor guys and the Corridor crew guys, you know, all of them. But I was talking to Nico and Sam, and specifically, I was trying to tell them how much their videos meant to people. Because I'm sure you've watched Corridor crew videos, or at least Corridor digital videos.
A ton, yeah.
I watched them before I started doing YouTube. They were an inspiration for me to start. I wanted to make videos like that. And it was jarring for me to hear how much and how long they struggled to just keep making things. Yeah. To just be able to keep the lights on in their office and the dream alive to continue making videos. How hard it was to adhere to like a certain level of quality to just put out a video so that they could get the money to be able to make another video. Like that was their life for a very long time. And all we see as consumers of the content was, wow, these are really high quality videos. I wish they made more, you know. Yeah. It's just and yet what I was telling them is like, you know, from their perspective, it's like with the Unus Annus thing. Everyone has different perspectives. They sprint for 2 weeks straight as hard as they can, trying to do these VFX, which are incredibly time-consuming things with an original video content and with the pressure of like, if it's not good enough, I don't know if we're going to be able to do another. I'm not saying it was that drastic. Like it wasn't there. Yeah. It wasn't that bad, but like the work that they put in compared to say our journeys with YouTube, where we are literally playing a video game right now, and you know that's the video and it's conversation. It takes us as long as it takes to stop saying words to be done with it. But I was telling them like how much their videos and that effort meant to me and so many other creators and so many other people on YouTube. Their videos have impacted people. They influence people. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for their videos. I truly don't think I would. And it's because they just like, they put in the work to make something incredible. And I'm sure they had so many different moments where they were like, oh, I don't know if it's good enough. I just got to go out, and that pressure there. But now that I'm working in their office, it's really like, I hope that they listen to me in terms of just understanding what a difference they've made because of the effort that they put in, the level of quality that they maintain. So like some people are just like, yeah, make videos for fun, and it should be. And I think they're in that point now where they're able to be more free and experiment and just try different videos and try different things. Yeah, but we are in a bit of a lucky position. Then again, it's like there's a lot of talent behind it. I think you have a great talent for entertaining. Like I think I have a good voice, and that's about it. And so it's really like worked out nicely. I'm not saying it's just like pure hard work. There's obviously some other factors to it. But.
Is that the only thing that you think you're good at? Is that you have a good voice?
Is there anything else?
I've never seen you be so humble.
No.
No, I genuinely think that that you have like some of the best ideas that I've ever seen, and your ability to just think of things and create things, and also like your stick-to-itiveness. I think is like so impressive, the way that you have a goal in mind and you have a thing that you want to do, and then you just make it happen. And I really wish that I had that kind of trait to just be able to push through and like make things happen and bring an idea to life, because I have a really hard time with like, I'll have a base idea, but then expanding upon an idea and actually figuring out how to create a thought into a full concept is really hard for me sometimes. But I think your ability to like fully make something in every aspect is really, really impressive, because you can take a simple idea that you have in the back of your mind and have a full project by the end. And I feel like, and obviously like this wasn't something that you knew how to do off the bat, but like I feel like, you know, you've done such bigger stuff like Space and Heist and everything like that. But I think that you have so many skills in so many different areas where like, I think a great example of that is is the He Who doc that we did, because that was basically like your entire idea and the way that you crafted a narrative out of what we had, and then took that into the editing room, if you will, and like we're able to edit that was so cool. And like you did that as well with the Drowned Man, because I feel like I wouldn't be able to take that simple thing of, oh, Wade's house is a catastrophe that's flooding, and turn it into like an engaging, really cool narrative piece. And so I think you're extremely good at that.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, your voice overall is really what made you successful. Here's, on top of what you were just saying, I have a question for you, which is kind of the opposite, because this is what I went through with my show. Have you ever had sort of like a weird mental break, maybe you did about space, where it was like, fuck, I really put a lot of myself into this and a lot of effort into this. Like, what if this is all I have? Like, what if this is all the juice that I can give? And like, what if the tank is empty after this?
All the time.
Yeah.
Literally after the end of every project, I have that feeling. Even if I have another idea lined up, because I really do appreciate you saying that. It's very kind of you to say.
Yeah.
I do have a lot of ideas, but it's not always perfect. You know, I do have, I think anyway, good drive, you know, like me inflating that ball with the power of my lungs. The power of the lung. But it can definitely backfire on me. Say with my Korean learning, like I've been learning Korean for 4 years. Because of the way my mentality works, I'm like, I've been studying it for 4 years, and language learning is a very long process, and I made a lot of progress on it. But because I'm not there yet, that gets me really depressed. It's that expectation of success that gets to me. Not in terms of like view success or anything like that, but my own metric of like, did I accomplish it? No. Well, then what the fuck is wrong? I get that a lot. And so when it comes down to finishing a project, I'll be very happy and extremely excited. But the problem for me is, this is good and bad. I'm in love with the creative process. I love everything about the making of the thing. And as soon as it's out, all of that, like the grind is where I really like thrive, and I love that. As soon as it's done, there's just emptiness, right? It's just suddenly a vacuum where there's no more work to be done. And it gets crippling sometimes. It really does. And it leads me to suddenly have to feel like I have to sprint to do another project just so I can feel like I'm doing something and chasing that dream. I've gotten a lot better at that recently. I've definitely slowed down a lot, especially after Space. Space was one that was so demanding that I realized that was unsustainable. I finally reached the point where the work that was necessary to make it happen was too much. And I kind of like scaled back a bit, and that's what's allowed me to reach out to other YouTubers. But yeah, I have doubts all the time. I've stood pensive. Was I talking to? Were you in the room?
Yes.
I was talking about. I look out my window with my hands clasped behind my back, my face illuminated by a lonely cigarette. I don't smoke. Just like I do that, like it's midnight. I'm looking out there, and I just go like, God, what if that's it? Am I happy with that being it? Is that good enough? And I think I'm starting to reach a point where I'm like, I think I'd be okay with looking back at all the things that I've done and that being it. I think. And
now you can truly look back at everything because you have new eyes.
You're right. I have new eyes. I can't believe I didn't get LASIK sooner. Honestly, smile. Smile. I freaking love it. I have to remind myself that, like, oh my God, I can see. This is incredible. I don't have to take contacts out. I just see. Legitimately, I just can see. It's great. It's so cool. I love it. Anyway, a sidebar there.
Incredible.
But now that the show is over, do you feel a little bit of that pressure of like, oh God, what if that is the best that I could do? I don't think it is personally, but have you felt that pensive look out the window at 12 midnight?
Yes. I definitely felt that. And that was something that I was really trying to do during the show, because I did like a little like VIP Q&A thing before every show. And almost every single show, somebody asked me like, you know, you worked on this for a long time. Like, what's next? And I purposely would never answer that question. I'd be like, yeah, I'm trying to just like live in the moment and appreciate this while it's happening. And I, for once, was actually able to do that, which I was really excited about. But yeah, I did have that a lot where, and I still have that where it's like, damn, I worked really hard on that, and I don't know what I'm going to do next, and maybe I don't have enough juice. And I think definitely after having a little bit of time to sit on it, I don't have those doubts as much anymore, where I'm like, something will inspire me and get me thinking in that way again. And I'll do something like that again. And like that was another thing that was kind of scary as well, because people got to see it a bit when we did You're Welcome, but especially doing this show, like I really like performing in front of a live audience, and I feel like I have really good stage presence, and I really like being up on stage like that. And so after having friends and stuff come to the show and be like, wow, you're really good up on stage, there's also that extra pressure now of like, fuck, I need to make another thing so I can do that again.
Yeah, no, but you are really good. I mean, you've always been like incredibly good on camera. Something about like when the camera turns on, the back part of your brain that you try to keep medicinally suppressed just surges forward to your forebrain and just like emerges like an alien bursting out. It's really incredible.
Forebrain. Yes,
you know, your forebrain. You know, you got the aft brain, you got forebrain. You know, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. But no, you are incredibly good on stage. You are incredibly good on camera. That actually is a rare ability to do it to the degree that you have. Because I've seen a lot. You know, I'm an experienced old man. I've seen a lot of mad days. But no, I've met a lot of other creators. I've met a lot of other people. It's very rare to see the kind of not only creative spark and drive to do that and thrive in the creative process, but also just like be able to be in front of a camera at any time in any circumstance and thrive. Like that is rare, and you should be proud of your ability to do that. And I think the thing is, like, you will find that you don't need to seek out opportunities to have that happen. Like they will find you because it is rare, and it is something that is sought out and sought after.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Yeah, no, I think this last couple of years with Unus Annus and doing the show and stuff, like I think it really put a lot of stuff in perspective for me, and especially after doing the show, because I accomplished the thing. It's like, oh, if I put my mind to it, I can make a thing. I can do bigger stuff, because I don't know, I do want to hold myself to a higher standard, and like I don't want to sound shitty, but like I know that I can do things well, and I know that I have potential, and I really don't want to waste that potential.
How old are you?
For 25.
I don't think you're going to worry about wasting your potential at 25, and you've been doing YouTube for 10 years. Yeah. I think number one, you can say that because you've been doing it for 10 years. But also you have so much time left. Yeah. Not like me.
Withering away as we speak.
Yeah, no, but I think you've got plenty of time. I want to see like the movie. I want to see like the first movie you make. I know it's going to happen at some point. I want to see like the next show that you do, because I'm sure that's going to happen. You know, I know that what you have is not going to be constrained to what is currently there, because, you know, not saying that what's there isn't good enough. It's just like I think you have the ability to always be reaching higher, and that can be a blessing and a curse. But I think it'll lead you in the right direction.
Thanks. Yeah, and like that's the thing too. I want to do that, you know, and I think that it is rare to find people who aren't satiated by what they have, you know? And like that sounds so bad, but like I'm incredibly grateful to be where I am and to have been able to do what I do. But like at the same time, it's like, no, I want to do more. Like this.
So what you're saying is if losing doesn't make you mad, you don't care about the game, right?
Right.
You know what I'm referring to.
That ninja tweet.
Yeah, the ninja tweet.
Exactly.
I see. I always thought you two were similar. I always thought.
Yeah, the blue hair, everything.
Nah, I'm comfortable with saying, like, I can respect many creators and I could be friends with tons of people, but I only want to work with people that really want to push themselves creatively. It's not reaching more for more success. It's reaching more inward for more of yourself. And I think that there's a clear distinction, but it's hard to see in certain people.
Yeah.
But I see it in you.
There is a difference.
I think we should do Unus Annus.
Unus Annus. God. People all the time are like, what would it take for that to happen? And I was like, a miracle. That's what I would take.
Yeah, it's not happening to everybody. It's not happening.
This is like, you and I, I'm sure, will make so much more stuff together, but making a video like that every single day for a year again, it can't. So
I'm good. I'm okay. But I would love to work on many other projects. That's what I think. If people are asking for Unus Annus, they did not embrace the meaning of Unus Annus in that it was a singular thing. It was done and over with, and there will be more in the future. More memories can be made. The clock is still ticking to this day. Right now, the clock is still ticking for you at home. Oh, fuck! No! Anyway, thank you, Ethan, for joining me on this wonderful.
Thank you so much for having me on PowerWash Pals, PowerWash Power Hour, PowerWash Podcast.
All of the above, and you can find Ethan's links in the description below. And if you have any ideas of who you want to be on the PowerWash Pal podcast. Power Hour, don't bother in the comments. I pick them myself. I don't actually care what you guys think watching this. All right, later, nerds.
Oh, man. All right, now, Lixian, do a classic Unus Annus outro where the sun hits us and it explodes, and then the aliens come down and they take our bodies up into space, but then a part of us is still alive, and we explode the ship from the inside, and there's a spiral into a black hole.
Okay, all right. Lixian, you heard that? Make Marcus do it. Okay, cool. All right, thank you.